this is my review of My Hero Academia. Okay, so in this episode, we meet the remaining two members of the Wild Pussycats, Ragdoll and Tiger, and that all four of them have different quirks, which I will go into a little bit. But also the League of Villains sent a small group of villains called the Vanguard Action Squad. Well, I say small, there's 10 people, but they are very effective at using their quirks. But anyway, the League of Villains sent the Vanguard Action Squad to attack the camp and try to disrupt their sense of peace. So it starts off with Class 1B being caught up to speed with what's going on and about how they have to each train their quirks individually to get better mastery over them. At which point we are introduced to Tiger and Ragdoll, and all four of them reveal their quirks. So Ragdoll has the ability to monitor up to 100 people at a time. Tiger's quirk is unknown, but he's there for the physical endurance people who have physical-based quirks and are used for attacking, and it's mainly Izuku who has a physical-based quirk. And Mandalay has the ability to telepathically communicate with everybody, and then we've already seen what Pixie Bob's quirk is. So Class 1A and 1B are trained together to try and improve their quirks, and are trying to better understand how their quirks work, which is kind of the point of the exercise. They're trying to better utilize their quirks so that they can be better heroes. Something that Kota doesn't really understand. And later that night, when they're trying to utilize their various quirks to make bowls of curry for them to eat, Deku notices that Kota leaves and brings him a bowl of curry while also trying to connect with him, and failing. But through his conversation, he does find out that Kota has an unbiased hatred toward all quirks and all superhuman societies, and believes that everybody is just trying to show off how strong their quirk is. And while Deku tries to connect with him, mainly by telling him a story about his friend who didn't have a quirk and tried hard to be a hero more than anything, he eventually concedes defeat and leaves the bowl of curry behind before going back with the rest of the students. Unaware that the Vanguard Action Squad is actually using the cave that Kota uses as their base of operations, which is later revealed at the end of the episode. So yeah. Meanwhile, the Vanguard Action Squad, short a couple of members, are beginning their plans to just absolutely destroy their sense of peace at the camp, and are planning to attack later that next day, which they do, and I'll go into that a little bit later. But the next morning, Deku, worried about what Kota said, also being prompted by what Aizawa says to all of them about remembering who they are, where they've been, and where they come from, and what that means for them to be a hero. Deku decides to take that exact moment to ask Mr. Aizawa what's happening with all the other teachers that are at UA, and All Might in particular. And Aizawa points out that the main reason they've limited the staff is because they wanted to keep it a secret from pretty much everybody, so that no villains would actually find them, which they did. So Deku continues his training, continuing to push himself, and then they go back to making curry again later that night. At which point, Todoroki comes to Izuku and asks him why he asked for All Might in particular. And Deku points out that he was trying to connect with Kota and was curious as to what All Might would be able to do in this situation. And Todoroki points out that he should use actions rather than words to show what it means to be a hero. And Deku thanks him for his advice. And then they get ready to do an endurance test between Class 1A and 1B, with 1A and 1B working in groups. 1A is designed to go in pairs through the forest in a loop, whereas Class 1B is supposed to use their quirks to try and scare the ever-loving daylights out of them. And the method is that they're supposed to be able to use their quirks in creative ways to try and scare the students and try to help each other better utilize their quirks. It was something that Ida immediately picks up on, and it's also revealed that they've all been paired up, except for Deku, because there are 5 students we know who they are, who failed their final exams and have to do makeup lessons. So Deku winds up being alone because there's 20 people in class 1A, 5 of them failed, which means Deku winds up being the odd man out. So yeah, they start. But anyway, the exercise starts off without a hitch, but then the villains decide to attack at that exact moment, and things get quickly out of hand. And Deku realizes that Kota might be in danger because only Deku really knows where Kota actually is. And case in point, he's approached by a villain whose name we do not know yet. Unless you watch it subtitled in English, in which case you probably know who it is. But let's just pretend we don't know who it is. But yeah, it was supposed, as I said, it was supposed to be that the villains weren't supposed to know where the training camp actually is. But instead, somebody must have leaked the information to the League of Villains, which means that now the Vanguard Action Squad knows exactly where the training camp is. And I've already said my piece on that, but again, it's clear that there's a traitor among UA who told the League of Villains where to find the training camp, because only someone inside the school would have that information. So it's clear somebody, most likely either one of the administration or possibly one of the students. We don't know, but it's entirely possible that somebody, either teacher or student, is leaking information to the League of Villains and giving them information that they shouldn't be able to have. So, and I'm assuming that's going to become a major plot point later on, because they do need to establish that somebody that shouldn't know that somebody has information is leaking it to the League of Villains, and so the League of Villains have access to information that they should never have had access to, and it's apparent that they will eventually explore that plot point, but it's clear that somebody in UA isn't who they say they are. So it's clear somebody is working with the League of Villains. As to who, we don't know yet. But yeah, this episode was just to establish that the Vanguard Action Squad finally makes its move on the students, and while also establishing that Kota needs kind of an example to learn just what exactly it means to be a hero, because he hates quirks and is kind of struggling to see the point of why people are using their quirks to try and become heroes and villains and stuff like that. And I believe that Deku will eventually go in to save him from the unknown villain, because let's be honest, Deku's the only one who knows about where Kota is chilling out, so it's clear that that's going to be a major plot point. But yeah, this episode was just to set up the next plot point for the next arc, and I have no idea how this is going to go, but I have a feeling I do. So if you guys have seen this episode of My Hero Academia, let's get a discussion going in the comment section down below, or over on my Discord server, link in the description. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, be sure to follow me on Facebook and on Twitter in the description below. And also check out my Patreon description below as well. It's only a couple bucks a month, and it really helps me out, so I would definitely appreciate it if you did that. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace!